Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj. And today's the last day of the 2016-17 NBA season. At this part of the year, I'm probably going to do a lot of these end-of-season awards, playoff predictions. I'm going to do a video where I look back on my regular season predictions to see how right or wrong I was, which should be fun. So stay tuned for that. We got some fire coming. It's the end of the regular season, which means everything is hyping up. I can't explain to you how excited I am for the NBA playoffs. The best time of the year, in my opinion. I just think that they are so exciting, so much more amped up than the regular season. There's so much more meaning. This is where it really begins. Not that the regular season is trash or anything. I do appreciate that, but come on now. We all know this whole thing is, we only watch this shit for the playoffs. This is setting up the playoffs, the prelude, if you will. Now, we're about to get into this. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, an idea down below for a video, even though I actually have a lot of videos. So don't comment idea down below for a video. Comment your all-NBA teams. That's what we're doing today. Subscribe if you're new. Let's get into this. If you guys don't know what an all-NBA team is, basically at the end of the year, there are 3 5-man, I guess you would say, it's a list. It's an award given to the, I guess you'd say the 15 most honorable players for, like, I guess maybe the most valuable players, the best players, the 15 best players. You put them in line. I'm sure you have 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center for the first, second, and third team. We're going to be taking a look at that. My all-NBA teams, who I think deserves to be where. And we're going to start with the all-NBA first team, as we do, which I believe there should be no question with the guards and forwards, which I have Russell Westbrook from the Oklahoma City Thunder, James Harden from the Houston Rockets as my 2 guards. I got Kawhi Leonard of the San Antonio Spurs and LeBron James of the Cleveland Cavaliers at my forwards, and I have Anthony Davis of the New Orleans Pelicans at center. Now, as I said before, I don't think that these first 4 are debatable whatsoever. These have been the 4 best players all year long. The first 2, the guards, Russ and Harden, are really the front runners for MVP, and Kawhi and LBJ, you hear their names mentioned here and there in that conversation. But we all know it's between Russ and Harden to win that thing, and you know I got Russ, but you got to put them both there. There's 2 slots, and so yeah, those 4 there shouldn't be a debate there. If there is, I don't know what's going on, but if you have a debate with that, please leave your beef in the comments. At center, we had Anthony Davis. This is interesting because the first question might be, well, is Anthony Davis really a power forward? Well, Anthony Davis has played enough minutes at each position to qualify for each of them. He could be your center, he could be your power forward, or your forward on the All-NBA team. So I think he's been better than every center in the league this year. I'm going to put him at center. He's my All-NBA first-team center, yes. And also, I know that his team is not in the playoffs, which, you know, that's contrary to the rest of these guys on here. But the thing about Anthony Davis is there's only so much carrying one man can do. He is so good that he can put up crazy numbers, be effective on both sides of the ball, be extremely efficient, and do all that and get the amount of wins that he did out of that team, because the team around him was garbage. It was trash. Any player would struggle to get to the playoffs with that lineup, except, you know, maybe LeBron James. But even he would have his troubles, and they, you know, if he was on that team, I don't think they would last around in the playoffs, to be honest, because that team is not good. Actually, you know what? Could LeBron actually get to the finals with any? Look, this is not the time for that conversation. So if you had a problem with that thing that I just said, please, like, it doesn't matter. I'm just rambling. Anyway, we had AD in the starting lineup. I just think he's so much better than everybody else that could be viable for that position. I don't think it makes sense to plug in another guy there. We'll get to the guys that were candidates for that first team spot in a bit with this All-NBA second team, in which at the guard spots I had Washington Wizards point guard John Wall alongside Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics. At forwards, we had Kevin Durant for the Golden State Warriors and Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks. And at center, Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz. First of all, a lot of people might be wondering, okay, you had Durant on the second team. Well, Durant was injured a lot, and even if Durant wasn't injured, I still wouldn't put him on the first team. So he's an All-NBA second team player. Wow, that's weird to say. For me, Giannis Antetokounmpo's making it up there. He took some huge strides, and he might just be the most improved player this year. This guy's been fantastic carrying that Bucks team. I think he leads them in all categories. That's the headline anyway. That would be points, rebounds, blocks, assists, steals, and Rebounds. Did I already say rebounds? If I did, fuck me. Anyway, we got those 4 guys. Rudy Gobert. This is the most interesting one to me. Rudy Gobert, I think, has done so much for this Utah Jazz team, not on the offensive end, but he's been extremely effective. And the value of your value on a team, most valuable players on a team are the guys that are the most effective, not the guys that have higher points per game. It's about the guys that affect the game more. Rudy Gobert is a guy that has been such a positive impact on his team, and it's shown. I mean, the guy is so good on the defensive end. He's a top 2 defensive player of the year candidate. He dominates the rebound category. And yes, okay, he doesn't score a ton of points, but look, that's probably the one part in his game where he's going to get better, and he's not really needed to do that, okay? He's not on a team where they need to give him post touches so he can dunk on people. That team, they share the ball a lot, okay? He's not really an offensive-based player, but on the defensive end, rebounding, all that stuff, and he's just a presence down low. He's so effective. He does so much for his team, and there's other centers that, they're not. Also, guys, like, if you're wondering, oh, well, Karl-Anthony Towns should be here, or DeMarcus Cousins, or like that, we got to reward winning with these lists. And yes, AD was ahead of him, but just look at what AD does. He's just far beyond, so much better than the rest of the centers in the league to me, and that's why I put him there. Gobert has been the best in terms of value to his team. He has been incredible in that defensive end. His effectiveness is through the roof, so he's got to be there. Now, as for Wall and IT, Isaiah Thomas was actually in the MVP conversation. He's probably one of those dark horse candidates, not going to win it probably, but he led his team to a 1 seed, and he's 5'9". And his team doesn't have a lot of offense besides him. He is the offense. I mean, that's crazy, right? Isaiah Thomas has got to be there. He's carried the offensive load for his team. John Wall has carried the load for his team, okay? The Wizards are now a good playoff team because of John Wall. They weren't looking so good at the beginning of the year. He woke them up. He's done a great job in terms of leadership. He's got to be there. I covered Durant and Giannis. Let's go on to the third team. Now, in the third team, we had in the backcourt Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors, DeMar DeRozan of the Toronto Raptors, Jimmy Butler of the Chicago Bulls at the forwards, with Paul George of the Indiana Pacers, and at center, DeMarcus Cousins of the New Orleans Pelicans. So, let's start with Curry and DeRozan. Curry was having an off year. Kind of weird to say that he's an All-NBA third-team player after winning MVP back-to-back years, but it makes sense when you look at all these great guards in the league. Curry hasn't had a better season to me than Waller IT. He hasn't carried a team like those guys, and yes, he had a great stretch in the middle of the year when Durant went out. Took him a while to get going, but he did it. But Curry's having a down year. Yes, a down year, but he's still an elite player, a superstar at that, and he's definitely deserving of this spot on the list. We'll get into the snubs after this, by the way, for you guys wondering. DeMar DeRozan for the Toronto Raptors. This guy has carried the Raptors in Kyle Lowry's absence. Kyle Lowry isn't on this list. That is because he missed a lot of time to injury. We got so many guards. It's like, okay, we just couldn't fit him. DeRozan's more deserving. He played all the games, basically, and look, that's not a knock on Lowry for being injured, but DeRozan stepped up when they needed him. He took hold of the reins of that team. He led them through that stretch and did a great job of it. Steph Curry, he did basically the same thing, and they went on a huge win streak without Kevin Durant. He was just on fire. He's still such a threat. Now, the forwards, Jimmy Butler and Paul George, and we also got some amazing small forwards in this league. In fact, all my forwards were small forwards. Jimmy Butler, he's been insane. He's carried the Chicago Bulls. He's just doing work all season long, all categories. He averages 24, 6, 5 and a half. He's just filling the stat sheet, 2 steals. And the team is just so much better when he's on the court than when he's off. And Paul George, man, he had a rough start to the season, I would say. At least he wasn't being as aggressive. But at the end of the season, has he taken off? Oh my good. Paul George has been getting ready for the playoffs in these last few weeks, and he's been going absolutely wild, just putting up these crazy numbers, doing his thing, playing better than we've ever seen him play. I mean, this is like some first-round series of last year, Paul George, where he was going nuts. The way he's playing, I mean, he's really just invincible right now. He can't miss, and I just think, man, you get this guy going right now, it's the best time for this Indiana Pacers team. He's going to lead his team into the playoffs probably. Him and Butler, they're probably in, but you never know. I still keep them there because they've been so good if there's any reason like why their teams don't make it, it's not because of them, because they have been fantastic this season. Now, DeMarcus Cousins at center, as I said before, I put Gobert over Cousins because Gobert's had a better impact on his team. That's just true. DeMarcus does have the better stats, but his team's winning hasn't been impacted enough by him. And look, I get it. He was on the Kings. The Kings are trash. But it's kind of weird that the Kings weren't that much worse than they were before. I mean, they're still in, I think they're in 11th. And what were they, in 9th or 10th when he left? Look, that team isn't terrible. DeMarcus Cousins is a great player. But when it comes to Rudy Gobert, his value is just way higher than DeMarcus Cousins. I don't understand how DeMarcus can't have a better impact than him. I think DeMarcus is probably a better, I mean, he's a better player, I'd say, but I think Gobert's had a better year. I do. DeMarcus in New Orleans, you know, there were some rough patches there, but they've been doing better in New Orleans with him. But yeah, I would just go Gobert over him, but Cousins gets right there. So some snubs that I'd like to point out: Damian Lillard, Klay Thompson, as I said, Kyle Lowry earlier, but yeah, he was injured. Kyrie Irving, Chris Paul at the guard spots, and then, you know, forwards if you wanna. I mean, I don't know. I don't really think there were that many good like power forwards. Power forward is one of the weakest, if not the weakest, positions in the NBA. There weren't a ton of those guys. I'd consider Cat the center. He's down there. He's with the centers, and he's had a phenomenal season. But nah, I wouldn't put him over DMC. Marcus Gasol, another guy like that. If you think I'm missing any small forwards, which like I'm trying to think of them right now, and I'm coming. I mean, Gordon Hayward is. It's just, you know, you can't put him over DeRozan or Butler. I wouldn't. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. What do y'all think about my all NBA teams? Yeah, I mean, that's it. These guys, I think, are the most deserving. I think that they're the most valuable. Top 15 players in the NBA? Nah, I wouldn't say that, because we just sorted this by positions. We had to add 3 centers in. You know, I think. Wow, that's actually no, because some people got injured, like Lowry. I'd have Lowry on here, you know, if it wasn't for his injury. And, you know, there's some other guys that I'm leaving out. I mean, you guys can comment, and people, if I forgot to say that they got snubbed. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, hit like, comment an idea down below. Comment your all NBA teams, I should say. Subscribe if you're new, and I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all.